So let's compare the newer iPhone 16e with the older iPhone 12. The new iPhone 16e is part of the iPhone 16 family. The iPhone now starts off at $600 at the 16e, and then the 16 at $800, and then the 16 Pro at $1,000, and then the Max at over $1,000. Now the iPhone 12, when it was released, that device was a $800 device. So we have a cheaper model that is announced, and it compares nicely to the iPhone 12 in certain regards, and in certain other things it doesn't do so well. But today in 2025, the iPhone 12, you could find it used for under $200. So you're getting a really good deal on the iPhone 12. While the iPhone 16e, you can get it on prepaid for as low as $300 on Boost Mobile. I seen it the other day. So we are comparing a newer iPhone 16e with a newer budget with a older flagship phone. So to start off, let's just go by looks, and real quickly, the front of the device of these devices, they look almost the same. When you flip them over to the back, you do see some physical changes with the camera systems. But first, let's start off with the build quality. Both are very good, with glass on the front, glass on the back, and they have an aluminum frame. So build quality, they are the same. The physical dimensions are exactly the same too, so they're the same size and the same weight as well. The 16e is eSIM only versus the iPhone 12, which has nano SIM and eSIM, so it makes it more flexible on the iPhone 12. Dust and water resistance is also the same, IP68, with 6 meters up to 30 minutes in dunking it in water. So both are the same as well with the protection. Now when it comes to the screen, same exact thing in the display quality. You're getting 60 hertz. That's old school. It's slower. It's not ProMotion like the Pro devices. Both, like I said, are the same size, 6.1 inches. Software wise, the 16e launches with iOS 18. iPhone 12 launched with iOS 14, but both are up to date in software. But the iPhone 12 will run out in like 2 to 3 years of updates, while the iPhone 16e, one of the few reasons to get it, or one of the best reasons to get it, is that it's a very future-proof device with the updates. Chipset-wise, A18 on the 16e, Apple A14 Bionic on the iPhone 12. And you're definitely just naturally see a more power in the A18 chip. The A14 Bionic is capable, but it's going to get slower as these devices age. It's just natural for a newer iPhone to have a newer chip. It's one of the advantages of the iPhone 16e is that it runs the same exact chip as the more expensive 16 and the 16 Pro. So it's a good reason to get the iPhone 16e. Has a more powerful processor than the iPhone 12. Also internally, they both have differences in RAM. The iPhone 16 has twice the amount of RAM than the iPhone 12, 8 gigs versus 4 gigs. You are getting 128 gigs of internal storage starting on the 16e. So that's a clear advantage on the iPhone 16e. This affects the how the apps in the background run and performance wise. So this is just purely obvious that the iPhone 16e is a more powerful device when it comes to performance, with the more RAM and the newer chipset than the iPhone 12. Everyday tasks will run perfectly fine on both of these devices, but the iPhone 12 is getting long in the tooth, and this is where it quickly shows its age, is the internals. Now, when you look at the device from the back, this is where you're going to see the iPhone 12 come up with the win, and it has 2 cameras instead of 1 camera on the 16e. By the looks of it, the iPhone 12 actually still looks more capable, more modern than the 16e. The 16e looks like an iPhone XR from the back with a single camera. It is a holdover from the SE budget iPhones. And for some people, they don't care, but if you want ultra wide shots, the iPhone 12 is just more capable. Both shoot in 4K on the front and on the back. So regardless, you're taking great pictures and videos from both of these devices, but the iPhone 12 just has that extra ultra wide camera. We got Bluetooth 5.3 on the 16E versus 5.0 on the iPhone 12. And at the bottom, when we charge the devices, a huge difference here. We have the newer USB-C on the 16E versus Lightning on the iPhone 12. This plays a huge role in everyday usage of the device. The 16E has the more modern standard that charges your MacBook, your iPad, your AirPods, and pretty much every other device that you have now. The iPhone 12 is just less capable, less flexible with the Lightning charger. Talking about the display on the front again, we both have Face ID and they're both housed in the notch. This is where the iPhone 12 doesn't feel that old compared to the 16E. The 16E feels older because it doesn't have dynamic island. The iPhone 12 came out years ago, so it's perfectly fine having the notch. But in 2025, the 16E has an older display on the front with no dynamic island. So this is where the iPhone 12 just feels almost the same age as the 16E. And now we come to the battery life. This is where the iPhone 16E really shines. It has the best battery life of any 6.1-inch iPhone. That's what Apple says, and that is a huge improvement. That is one big selling point of the 16E, is having all that good battery life. The iPhone 12 doesn't have such a big battery, but it does get the job done. But the iPhone 16E is one of the features that really sets it apart from other devices, even the more expensive devices. This has just great battery life, very important in a phone. And when it comes to charging, both of these charge 50% in 30 minutes. You don't have you do not have any type of MagSafe on the 16E, while you do have that on the iPhone 12. So there is an advantage right there on the iPhone 12 on the charging capabilities and the accessories with MagSafe. So when using both of these devices in a day-to-day situation, you're not going to find that much difference unless you're taking pictures. That's when you have that ultra wide camera on the iPhone 12. It comes in handy. You're looking at them in the front. They both feel exactly the same because of that notch instead of dynamic island. So the iPhone 16E feels a little bit older from the back and the front, having that just older components. So it feels just as old, if not older, than the iPhone 12. And then when you want to charge your devices, yes, you have to get the USB-C for the 16E instead of Lightning on the iPhone 12. Day-to-day usage, you won't notice a difference with regular apps, but maybe since you got an older processor, you might have a little stutter, you might have a little bit of slow opening your apps. You might be a little bit slow because of the older RAM, older processor on the iPhone 12. But in a couple of years, maybe even 1 or 2, those 4 gigs of RAM and the older processor in the iPhone 12, it will make this phone pretty much obsolete. The 16E is a future-proof device and very powerful at that. So on the day-to-day usage, the internals of the 16E are the most important things of this device that makes it stand out. Forget about the notch, forget about the camera. The internals are the ones that make this phone a good buy if you want to have a powerful device and use it for years to come. The iPhone 12 is good in the regard that it has that extra camera, it has MagSafe if you have the accessories, and also it just feels a little bit more modern if you just look at it from afar. Your people around you will notice that you have they'll probably mistake your iPhone 16E for a super old device and cheaper device. But the gap between these are very big in the internals, but on the outside they don't differ that much.